Good morning. It's Laura from Magnolia Garden Studios, and I'm here to share some really interesting things today. We are going to be using watercolor paints, watercolor pencils, regular color pencils, a kneaded eraser, and this really cool plant. Are you interested? I mean, is that something else or not? So I'm going to tell you, so you know that I'm an artist, but I also am certainly a plant enthusiast. My flower crowns and some of the other things that I do really inspire me. Artists really should know what inspires them, and I know that this is one of the categories that inspires me. So I want to tell you about this cool plant, and then we are going to explore 3 different types of mediums and how you can use them to improve your art. Okay, so this plant, if anybody knows, tell me in the comments what you think it is. All right, I'm going to turn it around so you can see it. So what's unique about this plant is from Southeast Asia, and what's unique about it is it's carnivorous. You know the little Venus flytraps we used to get when we were little, and sometimes still? This is a carnivorous plant just like that. And so it's called a pitcher plant. And sometimes they're called monkey cups because they do, even though they have a little top, you see that little top on there, to kind of keep the rain out. Sometimes the rain does get in, and monkeys will get them and drink out of them. So sometimes they're called monkeys cups. But what's really, so this is in the genus Nepenthes. Isn't that cool? And they like really bright light. They really are a vining machine. I'm looking out the window. I'm fascinated because we have not had rain in over 7 weeks. And I see that the sky is leaking. I originally was going to do this outside, but I guess I'm glad I didn't. Good morning, Rhea. Today we're talking about a pitcher plant and 3 easy ways to help you paint one. So what's interesting about this is it's a carnivorous plant. The little top does keep the rain out pretty much. They can open and close it a little bit, but if you're, and I know I'm not going to be able to show this to you, but if you were able to really look down in there, you can see, and I can feel it in my hand, there's a liquid in there, and it is a digestive fluid. It's acid. And sometimes if they get really dry, you can put just a little bit of distilled water down in there and help them out. But they have nectar on the top and a very waxy, slippery slope there. So they seduce the plant, an insect into them with the promise of food, and then they slide right in there. But something that's really interesting about, not this one, this one's not a big enough variety, but there is a variety that's pitchers are so huge that vertebrates actually fall in. So like frogs and mice, little lizards, I mean, they fall in here and this plant consumes them. But as if that's not interesting enough, that same plant, that same pitcher plant has a symbiotic relationship with tree shrews. Why the tree shrews do not fall in, I do not know. But they allow them to eat the nectar off of the top, and they don't slide in exchange for the shrew to turn around and poop right in there for nitrogen. So, I mean, it's so fascinating. But I just wanted to share this plant with you because every time that we do art, we need some kind of a subject. And this was going to be my subject, okay? I really like the fact that in the wind, maybe I can make it do it. Can you hear it? They kind of sound like a bamboo wind chime. You ever heard one of those? When they bang up against each other. It's really fascinating. Let me make sure that there's not something about this plant that I forgot to tell you. But you don't fertilize them because they feed themselves. No, I think I've told you. So, I hope that you enjoyed that. Hello, Loretta. Good to see you. Kathy, good morning. How about it? So, we're going to use several different techniques. If you're getting in late and you missed our plant, the little pitcher plant, make sure that you go back and see it. It's a pitcher plant, Loretta, and it's in the Nepenthes family, Nepenthes genus. That's important to me. It's not real important to other people. But this variety happens to be a very easy variety to cultivate and keep alive. So you might even find that in a nursery or grocery store. Sometimes you can find them there. All right, so I'm going to turn you down to my table. I'm going to have a little sip. I hope that wasn't the end of the rain. It was a pretty nice one there. All right, I'm going to turn you down to my table, and we're going to talk about 3 different ways that you can use these materials. All right, so there we go. I've already got a little bit of it done because I knew that I was going to need some of it dry, for whatever. So we're going to start with, sometimes when I want to make something, paint something, I just sketch it out, just like you can see here. I just sketched it out with pencil. And it depends on your taste, whether you mind having the pencil marks show or not. It's kind of a typical style, especially in watercolor, to be able to see the pencil, because once you paint over it, it's not coming up. See, like right here, that's not going to come up. But some of this other that I didn't paint on will continue to come off. So I've got a kneaded eraser here, which is super fun. I think they're, when they start getting a little crummy, then you just knead them up and they get clean again. It's kind of controversial. I just leave mine on my little thing here. Some people put them up so that they don't dry out. I have not had any problems drying out, but it just might be my climate. I'm not sure. So I don't scrub it because once I scrub it, it will completely go away and then I won't have my pattern there. So I just do this on the lead pencil just to lighten it up a little bit. And then you can go in and paint with your watercolor. But the lesson today is really more about pencils and what pencils can help you do, okay? So I've lightened up all the lead pencil. This will not erase. So this is watercolor pencil, and you can see that it's not going to erase. So that is one advantage or disadvantage, however you see it. You could actually do it with your pencil and then go over it with the colored pencil or the watercolor pencil and still take it up. It's just up to you. So I have 2 different kinds here. These happen to be my watercolor pencils, and what they will do is once you put the pigment down and then put water on top of them, they'll move similar to watercolor. Then I also have just my plain, regular, these are, I think, Master's Touch, but these are watercolor. These are just regular colored pencils, and they will not move. Once you put them there, they are not going to move. So I picked out these few colors, and I'm going to put down a little pigment here, just so you can see. If I'm looking at this leaf right here, and I noticed that it is a lot, the highlight is kind of here, and it's a little bit more yellow on that center line anyway. So I'm gonna come in, and you can kind of blend your pencils right on the page, or you can go back and add to it. And I'm gonna show you that in a minute with the picture itself. Tell me in the comments if anyone has one of these picture plants and if they like it. You can also shade this, so this is a lot darker. And then you can go in here and shade this a little bit lighter. When you put the water on it, it's going to follow that pattern. And you may or may not see a little bit of the scratch marks, you know, from the pencil, depending on how hard you apply it. And you might want that look. Personally, I never really enjoyed coloring in coloring books because I could always see, I could always see the lines from the crayons. But once I discovered like alcohol markers and, you know, some of the other, some nicer pencils and some things like that, then I enjoyed it a lot more. But I was one of those perfectionist kids, you know, I wanted everything to be just right. Okay. And this leaf, you can see this kind of olive leaf here is paint. So I just did that so that it would be dry. All right, so I'm going to get my brushes a little closer here. And I'm just gonna wet this so you can see how it goes. I think I might be able to get you a little bit closer. Is that better? Okay, so as I touch this, you'll notice it's just gonna start to blend together. And this is just water. And it's very similar to watercolor, where if you don't really like it, you can dry your brush off and you can kind of pick it up a little bit. And so you just keep blending. You do have to be a little bit careful not to scrub the paper, you know, quite too much. But it works very nicely. Just like that. Okay. So that's watercolor pencils with water applied on top. So now we'll do, here we go. So now I've got this painted leaf that is watercolor paint that I painted from here. And I've got just the regular colored pencil, not the watercolor pencil. So I'm going to add some shading here on top of the watercolor. And now this is going to show a little bit of the texture of the paper, but I don't mind. So I'm shading this deeper part of the leaf darker, so because it is within the plant. So if the light is coming from here, this leaf would be shading this one and putting it in a darker space. So I'm going to come all the way down a little bit like this. And I'll come back in a little bit later, maybe with some pen and ink, and do some veining of the leaf or whatever. But you can see, I'll get a little closer, you can see the difference in the watercolor pencil with the water on it, and it's already dried, compared to the paint with the regular pencil on top. Okay. And then we can add, let me see what color I want to use. I think I kind of like that one and that one. And we're going to do the same kind of thing here. Now, this is just the regular watercolor. I keep saying that. The regular colored pencil. And this is not going to move. This is regular colored pencil. So I'm cleaning up this line a little bit. I'm going to put a little more color in here. This is this area right here that holds the picture. So I'm going to make that a little bit darker. I'm going to leave a little natural highlight there though. Okay. And you see it has some veining, but I'll come back and do that after I finish, after there's not going to be any more water on the page, if that makes sense. And I'm going to come in here and just darken this up a little bit. And this is a really tricky way, you know, this is a nice little hack. If you've got your watercolor and you're kind of inexperienced with it, but you want a little richer color or you want a little bit more shading somewhere, you can do this because you can layer it on a little at the time without the fear of, oh no, am I going to ruin, you know, the wonderful work that I've already got done. And here I'm going to come and kind of create that lip there. There we go. Now, I'm going to go back in with the watercolor pencil, and I'm going to add some here. So this is the watercolor pencil on the page as opposed to on the paint. And you can just kind of go back and forth however you need to. However it works for you. All right, and I'm gonna go back in with some water. And I'm just gonna smooth that out. And to me, what this does, especially on watercolor paper, is the water lets the pigment flow into those little gaps that are in the paper. So see, it's a little bit hard to tell the difference between the watercolor pencil, which was on here with water, as opposed to down here, which is all watercolor paints. So it's a totally different idea, totally different look. But anyway, so I'm gonna bring it back up here. Oh. And I hope that helped. I hope that cleared up some things for you. So you can add watercolor paint, watercolor pencils, and non-watercolor pencils, or just use your regular lead pencil to start and create your beautiful watercolor paintings. And I hope that you enjoyed. Let me know if you enjoyed seeing a little bit of my hobby, a little bit of my fun things. I love to share my knowledge about these things. And I've been a gardener for many, many years, but I've kind of gotten into the rare and exotic lately. So that puts collecting to a whole different level. But I will tell you that I've got a website coming soon. We're still working on it. There's going to be a lot of wonderful resources on there for you to get for yourself for free and for purchase. And it's really exciting. I mean, my whole business is coming to a whole new level. And let me know. I think I'm going to put some flower crowns on there. if you guys think that you would like to have a flower crown made by me, then I think I might put those on there as well. So thanks for coming. I appreciate it so much. I hope that it continues to rain. We've had, the whole country's had so many problems with not enough water. So it's great to see it. But I'm glad to see you guys here today. Thanks for coming and supporting me each week. And I'll see you next week. Okay? Thanks. Bye.